Hi everyone, how are you today? Welcome back.
Hello.
Switchina Greer.
I'm in the Hines at your service. So today, thank you for joining us again. You've had the opportunity at this point to see our past videos on depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. But today we're going to talk about PTSD and trauma. So PTSD is otherwise known as post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's a real disorder that develops when a person has experienced or witnessed a scary, shocking, terrifying, or dangerous event, usually where someone's life has been threatened or severe injury has occurred, like a car accident or a murder, and so on and so forth. But it could even be a fire, a house on fire. And there's 4 phases of PTSD. There's the initial impact, then there's the immediate effects, then there's the intermediate and long-term effects. So now China is going to delve deeper into post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay, what are the signs of symptoms of PTSD? Usually PTSD occurs after 3 months after the traumatic event, but sometimes they might emerge later. To meet the criteria for PTSD, a person must have the symptoms for a month or longer, and the symptoms must be severe enough to interfere with the aspect of work or your daily life experiences, relationship. The symptoms must also be unrelated to medication, substance abuse, and other illness. PTSD disorder varies. Some people recover within 6 months. Other people, it takes longer. It depends on how long the PTSD been taking effect in your life. It might be a short-term PTSD, or it might be a long-term PTSD. People with PTSD usually have what we call a current condition, such as depression, substance abuse, or one or more anxiety disorder. Usually after this dangerous event, natural disaster that occurs that usually causes a person to have PTSD. The person becomes very detached from the experience. They usually, it's like they're sitting on the outside and watching the experience. They're not actually feeling the experience. A mental health professional helping people with PTSD, such as a psychiatrist, psychologist, or clinical social worker, can determine whether a person with symptoms meet the criteria of PTSD. To be diagnosed with PTSD, an adult must have one or all of the following symptoms within a month.
Okay, so now we're going to delve deeper into the symptoms. Now, I just want to remind you that there are going to be a lot of overlap with symptoms of PTSD with depression and anxiety. So these symptoms fall into 5 categories. They're behavioral, psychological, mood, sleep, and general. So behavioral symptoms include agitation, irritability, hostility, hypervigilance. So that person is very on edge and they're very aware of every little thing. Self-destructive behavior or social isolation. It can also include avoiding situations that bring back memories of the trauma. So psychological symptoms include vivid flashbacks where you feel as if you're actually reliving the trauma, fear, severe anxiety, or mistrust. As far as mood goes, there's a loss of interest or pleasure in activities. This goes along with depression. There's also guilt or loneliness, where you may blame yourself or others for the events or problems as a result of the events. And then as far as sleep goes, not only do you have flashbacks, but you have nightmares. And you can also experience insomnia, meaning you have trouble sleeping, falling asleep or staying asleep. And then finally, the last category involves just general symptoms. Tachina mentioned earlier detachment. So this emotional detachment, you may see and experience things, but you're not aware of your feelings. And you may also have unwanted and intrusive thoughts or images. So the images might kind of be like the flashbacks, but they could also be just maybe you projecting into the future based off of your experience. In addition, you'll have problems with concentration and thinking and memory. So all these tie in with depression. You may experience headaches. You may have suicidal thoughts and even make suicide attempts. You may have mood swings, panic episodes, paranoia, substance abuse. And then you may even experience obsessive compulsive tendencies. So for example, let's just say you have been robbed and held at gunpoint. So now, every time you come home, every time you leave the house, you keep checking your door and make sure it's locked. So that's just an example.
You know what? I want to two examples that I really like to cover that that I have experienced: sexual abuse and physical abuse, emotional abuse. Those also bring those traumatic events upon ourselves. I'm sorry, Amanda. Go ahead.
Okay. Some other final symptoms include shakiness, a constant feeling of impending doom. So, you basically feel like your life is over, or something bad is going to happen. And crying spells along with depression. So again, you'll notice that there's a lot of overlap in these symptoms we talked about.
Next week.
So next week, we want to talk about how children and teens react to trauma. And then in another video, we will talk about strategies, solutions to managing this disorder, and resources as well if you need help. And we always like to end with important numbers. So the National Suicide Hotline number is 988. And if you prefer text, you can just text 741-741 and someone will contact you. So we hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give us a like.
Give us a
share
like.
it with your friends and family, and anyone you think might benefit from this information. And stay tuned next week when we talk more on PTSD.
Have a great week, ladies and gentlemen.